Hey Blipsounds, it's Brian Seeley here again, one of the mods on the Discord channel, and we are now at the end of the January competition. It's another sound design competition that is in the books, and we had 25 entries. That is huge. That is awesome, and we were just so excited. And on top of that, there were so many good sounds. You guys did such a great job that it was so difficult to judge this, and it was so difficult to come up with a top 5 and to come up with a winner. So much so that I'm not just going to be showing the top 5 in here, but I want to show a couple of my personal favorite runner-ups. And then at the suggestion of someone else on the Discord channel, we're going to create a YouTube playlist so that you guys can go through and look at all the videos that were entered, because there were just some amazing ones. And to all of you that entered, please give yourselves a big pat on the back. Give yourselves an applause. That is huge, to do something, to make something, and to release it out into the world. And especially if you are new to sound design, this is the best way to learn, to just get in there and get your hands dirty. And I'm really excited to dive into these. We had great sounds. We had great interpretations on it. I mean, one of the nice things is that this was just a punch. And you guys had a blank canvas to do whatever you wanted, and there were just some amazing sounds, you know. And what's neat about this is that you know, it's asking the question, what does magic sound like? And everybody has a different interpretation of what magic sounds like. And you know, Bayonetta, from both her own video games as well as from the Smash series, you know, she does a mixture of, you know, shooting and combat and then these magic abilities. And, you know, it's awesome to see these different interpretations of what does magic sound like. And we're going to go ahead and dive in and really look at what some of the people did. So our first top 5 is Maria Sherbakova. I apologize if I messed up your name. Feel free to correct me. This was a great sound overall. Let's start this one over. So there's that like quick setup, you know, there's that quick movement. She does a ding right at the beginning, and then when she has the hit come in, she gives it that 2-beat hit, which there were a couple of you that did that, and that was a really interesting take on that. You know, it's a very fast setup, and I think your quick like little shoot gives it that great kind of frenetic feel. You know, it's very fast, and things are moving quickly, and then you do the hit and then you get out of the way. You know, this is a great example of a good rise and fall. You have the setup with that ding that lets you know something's happening, and then all you know, all hell breaks loose, and then you get out of the way, and it's fantastic. I love this. You know, it's a great job of conveying to the audience what's going on. We have Polly's sound. And, you know, this is a really interesting take on that, the hand spinning back in, because correct me if I'm wrong, but most of what Bayonetta does, like a lot of her stuff comes from like her hair that surrounds her entire body. If I'm wrong, let me know what the right answer is in the comments, or, you know, on the Discord, on the Blipsounds Discord channel. But I'm pretty sure everything she does involves her hair. So it was kind of neat to hear that, that spinning effect. You know, it sounded a lot like a kind of like a drill or something in reverse, which is really fascinating. Good setup. I really like that punch. You know, I like that kind of slow build. My only critique about the slow build, like that slow anticipation, is the hit will start with that ding, and that ding is preceded by the player pushing the button. So if they push the button and have to wait for that build to come in, it makes the controls feel loose. You know, you want to make the controls feel tighter to have some kind of sharp snapping sound to let the player know the action has started. They've pushed the button and the game has responded. Because if players feel like the action happens later than when they push the button, they feel like they've been cheated. So my biggest critique would be to have, you know, I love the slow build, but to have some kind of snap so that the player knows they've pushed the button and the game has responded. So we had a tie for second place. And the first one on our tie is Chris Parker, who goes by Some Garbage or Trash Stevens or Some Garbage or whatever on Discord. And here's his sound. So Chris does that ding at the beginning, and he has a nice little setup. And I like that his setup and his rewind are, it sounds like it's the same sound in reverse, that which I think it's great. I think it's wonderful. You know, he has that ding in there that lets the player know the action has been registered in the game. And it again, it helps to add to that kind of frenetic feeling. There's a good sense of rise and fall that the setup and the release, you know, they're not as dominant as that main impact. That impact has a lot of weight to it. You definitely feel the intensity of Bayonetta's hit. Good, simple sound. It works. It's very effective, and you know, it gets the job done. Next up in our tie for second place is Mikhail Van Ninen. I'm sorry if I mess up that name. And this was another really fun sound. So there's a snap at the beginning, which you can hear. Not really so much a snap, but like you do hear that that beginning. Not really an emphasis given on that ding. There were only a few of you that put an emphasis on that that light at the beginning. But I like that take on the fist receding. It's a really interesting sound. Kind of makes me think. Whoops. Kind of makes me think a little Transformers or something to that effect. It has a really neat feel to it. Really impactful in terms of the punch and the setup. There's some low tones in there, and I think this is just me personally. I think you could clean up some of those low tones, only because in a Smash like game where it's not just one-on-one, but sometimes you can have as many as 8 players, that low tone could easily get lost in the whole game. And so, not that you need to overemphasize it, and I mean the low tone, you kind of hear it in the setup. that whoom. But I like the sound overall. I think your setup and receding is a little too loud compared to the rest of the action. But again, that's just a personal preference. Overall, it's a great sound. I love it. It's a lot of fun. So before we announce our first place, I want to touch on a few runner-ups. These are people who either the judges voted into their top 5 or they're just sounds that I personally liked. So first up in our runner-up is Doku. So Doku has a really nice setup with that bell sound right there when the light flashes. And he was another one that did that double hit, much like Maria did. The hit, my biggest critique is that the hit doesn't carry enough weight to it. There's not enough low end oomph. There's a lot of kind of mid range to it. And not really even a lot of high end snap. It's a good sound, but it's not. It doesn't carry that kind of deep weight to it. Good dynamics, good use of atmosphere, good use of just a good interpretation of the hit itself. I like that wisp, but that when the fist is receding, I actually think that that's probably one of the best sounds. Even of the top 5s, I think that receding sound is among one of the best. I think your biggest the biggest thing to work on is the impact of that fist. Great sound overall. Another runner-up is Etu Tahitanen, who goes by Nag on Discord channel. And there is a lot going on in there. It sounds like, again, part of it is it's adding to that frenetic feeling, which is awesome. Again, very similar to I think it was for Polly, is that there's that slow wind up, which is really nice, but there's nothing that's informed the player that, hey, you've pushed the button. Here's the snap. Here's the initial hit that says I've done this thing. It's just that very slow build up, which it sounds great. But like I said, in a video game, you want to give information to the player that they've pushed the button and the game has acknowledged that they've pushed the button. But I like that that kind of what is it? That high pitch tone you have in there. Even that little winding back, like I like the use of the synths. They sound really good. They add to that kind of sense of magic. That this is an otherworldly power, and it should sound very otherworldly, and I think that's a really nice interpretation of it. My only critique is that I think your rise and fall are a little too loud compared to the hit. The hit is the most important part of this action, and I think you just need to hit and get out of the way. Let the rise and fall happen, and let the hit happen, but let the rise and fall accentuate the hit and then get out of the way. Great sound overall. And then this is Manuel, who goes by M on Discord, and goodness, I just love this so much. This was easily among one of my favorites. Just so much fun. You know, great setup with that hit. You know, that kind of rushing in, that again, that frenetic feeling, that excitement that's created. It'd have been nice to have something that kind of accentuated that flash a little bit more. And oh goodness, that sound, that distorted synth sound that hits when the player is punched. Ah, goodness, it just feels so much fun. And in all honesty, like I see that more in a in like a Doom game, like a first or third person shooter, where you just get this ridiculous gun that just does ridiculous damage, and that's what it feels like. It's a great sound. I just have so much fun listening to this sound, and I just like listening to it on repeat because it's just so much fun. Like it's a great sound, great weight to that punch. Just feels really enjoyable, really fun. So yeah, that's those are some of my selected runner-ups, and now I want to announce the winner. The winner of the January sound design competition is Maxim Shelkovsky, Quick Sound on YouTube. Maxim just has a very simple, just a simple sound, and it's just a lot of fun. I mean, he has the snap. So there's that ding when the bell rises in, there's that quick rise, and then that punch. And you know, it's a very satisfying punch, and then the hair gets out of the way with that little twist. You know, there's that, like I said, that ding and that kind of snapping of the sound that lets the player know they push the button, the action is starting, and then the very pleasing hit. You hear Mario jumping back. You know, that's a really good sound of Mario, like that kind of like that, and the sound of him like landing and the hair going back. There's a lot of right going on in this sound. Very fun, very good job. Just a very simple sound. I mean, it's a simple punch, and like I said, the beauty of it is it gave many of you a blank canvas to try a bunch of different things. And this was just a really fun sound. You know, I think maybe the setup could have been just a little bit quieter, but that's just a personal preference. It's a great sound, and I think it would be ready to go into a game. So like I said, great job. And to the rest of you that turned in, if you didn't see yourself in either the top 5 or in my runner-up list, you know, just keep working at it. If you keep working at it, you're going to get better, and you're going to wind up in the top 5 list. You know, it's just, it's how you get better is you keep making sounds, and this is great for your portfolio. You know, it's great to show people, hey, this is what I've done. It gives you the opportunity to talk about the decisions that you've made, why you made the sound that you did. And I'm glad that so many of you took advantage of the peer feedback channel on the under the competition page, that it just gave you an opportunity to get valuable insight from your peers. And you know, a lot of you submitted a few times, you took that feedback and you grew because of it. And that's a big thing, to be able to take feedback from people and to go and make your sound better because of it. So a big congrats to every single one of you that entered. A huge congrats to Maxim. Ryan will be in touch with you about your free month of game audio training series. And, you know, next month, I hope to see 30, 40, or even 50 people enter into this competition, because the more people that enter, you know, that's more people getting better at this. And, you know, to all the rest of you that have been entering, keep doing so, because every time you do it, you get better. I've listened to some of you just continue to improve month by month by month, and I'm so excited to see what's going to happen next month. So I hope you guys have a great week. I hope you had a great January, and I hope you have an amazing February. Everybody take care, and peace out.